Hello, my YouTube friends. Welcome to another video. Coming at you after the fact. I've kind of been enjoying filming my intros after I record a vlog, just because I never really know where they're gonna go. I'm a vlogger at heart. I like filming my day and I like giving you value along the way. I think it's because that's what I find the most entertaining to watch. But this video is going to cover all things making fat loss easy. So mostly these are gonna be just like little tips that will make eating in a deficit easier, which I feel like this is very abnormal for me to post on my channel. And I just want to preface this video by saying, like, I'm by no means promoting just needing to diet or anything like that, but I do know a lot of my content is catered towards eating in a surplus, growth, mindset around food, all of that kind of stuff, because obviously that's really near and dear to my heart, just given my history. And I know a lot of you guys who have found me struggle with the same things that I used to struggle with. But that being said, I know I also have a lot of ladies who I'm sure watch my videos who do want to tackle a fat loss phase, or who maybe are prepping or are in your first fat loss phase. And there's a lot of things that I almost wish I knew the first time that I like intentionally and in a structured way approached a fat loss phase. So that's what we're gonna cover here in this video. I just can see comments coming in like, this is so disordered, and like, no, if you want to go into a fat loss phase, you're allowed to go into a fat loss phase. And I think a lot of times women just make fat loss so much more daunting than it needs to be. I think a lot of that just stems from the diets and just kind of the stigma around dieting that many of us women experience, right? Like, you are killing yourself during a dieting phase and you have to be perfect and only eat certain foods, or it's super restrictive and low calorie and you feel like shit. And you know, especially if you are in a lifestyle cut or in a fat loss phase in a lifestyle capacity, it doesn't need to and shouldn't be that way. So again, in this video, there's just a bunch of like little tips that will make eating in a deficit and sticking to that deficit, because consistency is so important. Much easier, things that have helped me. I don't know, this dieting phase has felt pretty easy, but I guess that is my first and biggest tip for a good fat loss phase, is to make sure that you set yourself up, that your metabolism is rocking and rolling, that you have reverse dieted, spent time eating at a higher intake. That is going to be so important, because if you're starting a dieting phase and you literally just finished a diet, or you are maintaining on like 1,600 calories, you are going to have to freaking struggle and your body still may not respond. And I have a whole video about knowing you're ready to start a fat loss phase. So definitely watch that. And with that, enjoy the video. We just have some instant oats, and I added half a scoop of the blueberry muffin vegan protein. So good. Lexi, code Lexi, 10% off. Raspberries and almond butter on top, and then I have some more egg whites on the side. A lot of you guys know cream of rice is my ride or die. I do really like oats too. Obviously, when you are in a deficit and your food is a bit lower, you want to be more full, right? Like, you want foods that are gonna be more filling. So using oats instead of cream of rice, oats are gonna have a lot more fiber. So when you are in a fat loss phase, choosing carbohydrate sources that might be a bit higher in fiber, if you are dealing with being really hungry, could be really helpful. Because fiber is also found in carbohydrates, when your carbohydrates are lower, it's going to be harder to meet your fiber intake. So sometimes having more fibrous foods can help with that too. I'm gonna eat that up and I'll take you along my day, share some tips as I go. Let's see what we get into. Just making up some food before I go to a coffee shop. I'm gonna meet my friend Kaylin. I put some sweet potatoes in the air fryer and they look so good. We're gonna make a little bit of like a breakfast hash, and I'll either eat it here or maybe bring it with me. I feel like that'd be rude since they have food. So I guess I'll eat it here. That is to say, if you do go out to eat, because I do eat out a lot when I'm in a calorie deficit, like, I don't really live my life any differently than when I'm in a surplus. Just make sure that you plan ahead, because if I was gonna go and I was about to be like, oh, I'll just get lunch there, I would just look at the menu and track ahead of time. So it takes a little bit more attention than when you're in a surplus or when I'm in a surplus and I'm like, I can fit whatever into my macros. But, you know, planning your food in advance can be very helpful because then you know you're not blowing all your macros on one meal. You can split them up so that you know that you're satiated throughout the day. So I kind of like had my food planned already today, just so I know what I'm gonna eat. I totally forgot to show you guys, but it was really pretty. Here's the final product. I have sweet potatoes, egg whites. It's like a little bit of a breakfast scramble. And then I put feta cheese and avocado in there as well. And this is my first time making this meal, but it is so good. Just whether you're bulking or cutting, one thing that kind of makes every phase fun is you get to like try new meal ideas. Like y'all know I'm such a creature of habit, but you know, if I'm like, oh, like I have those macros to play with, I'm gonna kind of make more out of those macros. That's kind of fun for me to like come up with different recipes or in a surplus when I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so full. I need meals that are like less voluminous and less filling. That's really fun for me too. So just use it as like a time to like spice things up a little bit. Going to a coffee shop. These shorts are Abercrombie, which they cover my butt. I had to get new shorts because I just had to accept that none of my shorts from last summer are going to fit because booty gains have been made. But this is Urban Outfitters, I think, super old. And this is Aritzia, and then we have on our Nikes. So we're actually just finishing up. I honestly totally forgot I was vlogging, but cutest coffee shop ever. And the coffee is actually really good. I just got a cold brew with cream, and we have Miss Kaylin here. I haven't been to a coffee shop for in a minute, and it honestly was lovely. This is a new favorite. I always feel like I'm very productive too, because you're just like there to work, you know? I'm actually gonna head home right now. It's like 4 o'clock, because I'm going on a nice walk at like 4:30. So hopefully I can get home in time. I have a 5-minute turnaround time. I honestly just got caught up working, and I haven't been to a coffee shop in a minute since I've been training in the afternoon, which honestly isn't my favorite, but I do find that in a deficit, especially, it's nice to have more food in me. Yeah, it just makes it hard to like go places. So I will say my preferred training time is in the morning. I'm gonna change really quickly because I'm gonna go on a walk with Rebecca, and I'm not gonna take you guys because I don't want to carry my camera, but I used to walk with her every single week, and we just haven't done it in a really long time. And then I have like meetings and calls tonight, so busy day. I am about to hop into 2 Zoom meetings that I just had back to back, and I am eating 2 plain rice cakes with a little bit of cream cheese and sugar-free syrup, and then egg whites, and I had 2 caramel rice cakes too, but those are down the hatch. But another little tip, y'all know I love my caramel rice cakes. They are, I think, like 12 or 13 carbs, and the plain ones are 7. So one thing that's really easy to do when you're cutting versus growing is just making like similar food swaps, right? So swapping out my normal caramel rice cakes for plain rice cakes. So, you know, usually I'll have like 3 or 4 at a time, and that can save you like 15-20 carbs in like a meal, right? But on the flip side, and I see a lot of people who get really like, they like super large volumes of food, they'll be like bulking, eating like 300 grams of carbs and eating like 7 plain rice cakes at a meal. And then, yeah, you're gonna have to like take away rice cakes, and that can be sad. It's not necessarily something that I deal with. Like, I'm not really a huge volume eater at all. Literally just eat like low volume food when you are growing, and it does make it a lot easier when you are in a fat loss phase. But like other little swaps that you could make are like, instead of using plain cream cheese, like normal cream cheese, use like the whipped cream cheese. instead of like a bagel, like use an English muffin or something like that. You know, things that are like super, super similar, but just picking the less calorie dense version of it. If that's something that you struggle with and you're like, I just don't want to have to eat so much like less volume food, just have like, there's a lot of like lower calorie options, if that makes sense. There's that, the Zoom call in 1 minute, then another one. So I'll catch up with you after that. Okay, and now moving on with our busy day. We have more food cooking over here, but I'm making some mushrooms and frozen broccoli here, and then I have spaghetti squash and shrimp. So I'm gonna make some like pasta, which honestly it drives me crazy. People are like, spaghetti squash is just like pasta. I'm like, it looks like pasta. It doesn't taste like pasta. I do really like the taste of spaghetti squash. And I'm gonna bring it to go see the new Harry Potter movie, so I'm just gonna pack it to go. Busy day. I've actually seen a lot of people today, which I like to fill my rest days with just like other things I don't have time to do. Work has been just a lot recently, which I know I've said that in the last few videos I've filmed. So my days have literally just been like sitting in my apartment and then like going to the gym. Yeah, my work date at that coffee shop was so fun. We were there for hours. Rebecca and I walked for like 30 minutes, and she's one of our coaches too. So it's just good to like catch up with her outside of work stuff. And I'm really excited to see this movie because tonight's the only night I have like free. So we're gonna go do that, and I just know if I went and didn't bring food, I'd be so hungry, but I don't have time to eat. So we're just gonna like sneak it in. So here we have it. I just added some of this spicy red pepper pasta sauce, and then some Parmesan cheese. Literally takes 2 minutes when you have things prepped and ready to go. So we're gonna just sneak this. I just honestly am gonna bring this bag. I will get a Diet Coke. If you don't want to spend $1 bajillion on movie theater snacks, just sneak stuff in. Well, hello. We are back. That was a very long movie. It started at 7:45, and I just got home and it's literally 11 p.m. So don't love that for me. Tomorrow morning is gonna be a tad rough. I'm making up my last meal, which is just my cream of rice. New Fantastic Beasts movie, phenomenal. I heard it was supposed to be the last one, and the ending of it, I'm like, I don't think it's the last one. Nor does it make sense for them to stop making Harry Potter movies because I feel like they make so much money off of them. Just my thoughts. Wasn't my favorite. I don't think the Fantastic Beasts movies are obviously as good as Harry Potter, but nonetheless, quite good. But another little tip, and you guys saw this today, and a lot of times it's stressful for people to like be social when they're dieting. And again, like I said at the beginning of this video, I think a lot of it comes back to just like this pressure people put on themselves to suddenly like be perfect. Like a deficit is just like a thing, and you make it such a thing in your head, and it doesn't need to be. But anyways, I digress. I think a lot of people do like isolate themselves because they feel like they need to be perfect with food. And one, like I said, like literally nothing changes when you're in a deficit, especially if it's in a lifestyle capacity, besides your macros. Like you don't need to change your social life. You don't need to like, oh my gosh, I can't go out to eat, whatever, right? You do, however, have to be more mindful in those situations, I will say. Don't be afraid to suggest doing things that aren't food related. I had a great coffee shop date. I went on a great walk. I went to a movie. I think that that's just a great thing all of us can implement, right? Like not everything needs to involve food. But anyways, there we go. Did sneak my spaghetti squash in easily. Very excited to eat that cream of rice. I've made a video, I think it was my 10 tips for eating in a surplus or like for bulking. So if you're in a growing phase, definitely watch that. But I know I do have people who are in a deficit right now as well. I'm very grateful to be in the place that I am. And I'm just having fun with this. I'm literally probably gonna diet for another week, but It's been so freaking easy just because because I'm just doing it for fun and there's no pressure. Hello, coming at you with a few last tips and to close out this vlog, obviously. We're doing like a no makeup look today. I just have on tinted moisturizer. Didn't feel like doing it. These tips are gonna be more like big chunks, while the other little tips that I gave during this video were the bite-sized pieces, are just strategy around making eating in a deficit easier to adhere to, because at the end of the day, overall consistency is gonna be the most important thing. These tips are truly going to dictate your body's ability to progress. I talked about at the beginning, setting yourself up optimally. Again, that video is linked in the description. But the next thing is going to be not dropping food low super fast. When you are in a deficit, you want to keep food as high as possible and cardio as low as possible while still progressing. It's not like, okay, I'm just going to drop food as fast as I can because then I'll see progress faster. Because one, you might not necessarily see progress faster. You're just gonna plateau on that lower amount of food because our bodies are adaptive. They're gonna adapt to whatever we're doing, but also it's going to result most likely in you rebounding out of it. And that's why the super low calorie restrictive diets don't work. And you're gonna want to just make small adjustments to food and cardio as your body adapts throughout your deficit. Next thing, limiting stress. This brings a few things into play. First is going to be sleep. Second is going to be prioritizing your rest and recovery outside of the gym. Third thing is going to be just managing overall stress. Elevated cortisol, which I've talked about in many a vlog, will hold your body back from being able to lose fat. Think about it this way. When your body's in a stress state, cortisol is your stress hormone. It's not concerned with losing fat. It just wants to survive. Sleep also is going to help with cravings and hunger and satiety. It's going to help overall with your recovery. You don't want to be training every day, doing cardio every single day just because you're trying to diet either. You don't train more, okay? My last tip is just to honestly give yourself grace and just overall to make it enjoyable. So many women dig themselves into a hole in a deficit because they overeat on one meal. You have a flat tire, you slash all 4 tires and put the car up in flames, right? Why would you do? The reason why I track macros now that I'm doing a lifestyle cut, it's so much easier for me to stick to. Number one, I can live my normal life, a life that I enjoy. It also is easy for me to fit in foods that I love, etc. So find a diet that you enjoy is my other thing. But that's what I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, comment, share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.